Hi, everyone, and welcome to Super Yacht Stories. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome my guest, Brian Deher. He is the Regional Director of Marina Operations and Planning for the Caribbean and Latin America. That's quite a title.
Thank you. Good morning, Rhea.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for having me today.
Yeah, well, of course. You know, we've got all sorts of exciting things coming up. IGY Marinas has been, front and center across the world lately. And of course, it's not only acquiring new marinas, but as well, we've got this Yacht Charter Show coming up. And so it's pretty exciting. But I want to introduce you to the audience. Tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from originally? What got you into doing what you do today?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. My name's Brian Deher, as you mentioned, obviously, and I'm from St. Martin. I was born in St. Martin. My father's family has been there for many, many generations on his mother's side. Actually, they're part of the first group of people that from the French that moved from St. Kitts over to St. Martin many hundreds of years ago and settled in Grand Cause. So my father was born in Grand Cause in St. Martin, and then moved over to Phillipsburg in the early 40s and has lived there ever since. And my mother's from Connecticut and moved down to the Caribbean in the early 60s with her entire family. So all of my grandparents are buried on St. Martin. That is my home for, my entire life. My kids are from there. And then I grew up at a small marina that my family built in the late 70s, and we literally grew up in an apartment there. So marinas has always been in my life, but I really never thought about it as a specific career opportunity. I went to business school in George Washington University in Washington, D.C. And when I came back to St. Martin, I did a lot of things, real estate and other initiatives that we wanted to get going, and then ended up meeting IGY in 2005 when they were really just getting started, and actually 2004. And by February of 2005, I was working with them and been working with them ever since. So we're going on 16 plus years now, and had the opportunity during the beginning of IGY when we were looking at projects everywhere across the world, from Dubai right through in China, Latin America, of course, the Eastern Seaboard. And for, 3-4 years there, before the first, my first economic crash in the 2008-2009 period, we were just all over the place developing properties, and I got to be part of all of that from a consulting point of view. And then after 2008, in November, I took over running the facility you can see behind me, which is Yacht Club Ile de Sol, and the Simpson Bay Marina in St. Martin, as I was from there and operating out of there. And it's been great. Then I've kind of delved in 100% into the operations side, which gives me a lot of opportunity because it's made me better at the consultant development side. So I get the opportunity to work with the operations team the majority of my time running facilities. And then when we are starting to look at acquiring or just working with other facilities, I get to be part of that because IGY has got a fairly broad spectrum here. So it gives me a lot of opportunity. It's great. For me, I love working with IGY, and then I've been able to, over the last few years, start taking on a more regional role and helping oversee the Caribbean mostly, and Latin America as well. But my focus is really St. Thomas, St. Martin, and Rodney Bay is our big push in the Caribbean right now.
So tell me,
Rodney Bay,
IGY
St.
Marinas.
Lucia, excuse me.
Sorry, IGY Marinas, what is in their umbrella in your area? I mean, there are so many, but in the Caribbean and Latin America, how many marinas do you oversee in that area?
Well, there's 5 specifically that I focus on the majority of my time as our own facilities, which would be in St. Thomas, the Yacht Haven Grande, which is really our flagship. I think, you spent some time talking to our CEO, Tom Muckamal, and he had the image of Yacht Haven in behind him. And it's just a fantastic facility. It was really built to showcase what we can do when building and designing and operating facilities. And it's really second to none in the Caribbean. It's a magnificent facility. And then we have American Yacht Harbor over there in Red Hook on the eastern side of the island that's really got a lot of history to it and is well known in the sports fish community, as well as the charter and cruising class, because it's the gateway right into the BVIs. It's easy to get over to the BVIs from there. So it's just a fantastic facility as well. And then we move over to the eastern unit, St. Martin, where we've got Yacht Club Ile de Sol, which is right behind me, as you can see, and our sister facility next to it called the Simpson Bay Marina. Now, for any captains looking at this picture, I should mention that the picture is a mirror image, so St. Martin hasn't changed, it's just the picture. But you could see Ile de Sol behind me. And then to the south, in St. Lucia, we have Rodney Bay Marina, which is a great marina as well. It's perfectly situated for anybody wanting to do charters out of or in the Southern Caribbean, because it's great opportunity for provisioning and fuel, all that kind of stuff. So it has all the amenities that you would see at any of our IGY facilities, and it's in a nice protected lagoon down south. So it's great. And what we tend to find a lot is, specifically in the Caribbean, our clients really do migrate between St. Thomas, St. Martin, and St. Lucia quite a bit. And when they do so, they've been doing it maybe for 20, 30 years. If you're an older captain, or, the management company might have the experience there, but it is always nice to, if you're working with IGY, our handoff from one manager to the other is just a very efficient way to move around. And in many cases, it goes beyond just knowing what the boat needs and your length beam draft and what, how long you're going to be there in the reservations. Usually it's a manager calling another manager to say, hey, my friend John on this boat, he likes this beer or something. And, that's just such a small touch. But when you walk out and you're docking in Rodney Bay in St. Lucia, and you've never been there before, and the manager from St. Thomas is sending you a beer that you like, it's just a real friendly feeling. And, our whole philosophy is we're in a business to business type relationship for the most part, while we try to offer 5-star hotel quality service. And we try to treat we do treat the crew like they're actually the guests, which blows their mind a lot of times. They're coming off the dock, they got garbage, they're doing their 9 to 5 job or 7 to 5 job if it is. And we're there to grab the garbage and say, no, you're the guest now. And so it's really nice. We try to give that same level of service no matter where you are at an IGY facility. You know what you're going to get. And if you're not getting what you need, it's a phone call away. So a lot of times it's that personality and personal relationship that if you're comfortable with working with somebody out of St. Martin, you can continue to contact them wherever you go through IGY, and they'll take care of your needs like you were sitting in St. Martin. Similarly, if you're been in St. Thomas for the whole time and you've built a relationship with a guest service coordinator there, you don't need to restart that conversation of what I like, what I don't like in each case. So it's really a nice, efficient way to move through the Caribbean. And now the Eastern Seaboard is, you probably know, we've new facilities in Miami and moving along there, and up in the Northeast as well. And now we're making a pretty big move into Europe. Our CEO, I think Tom was talking to you about it, Tom Muckamal, in the interview you did with him. And it's, it gives us a great footprint to be able to just look at what our customer needs and start talking to them in, January, February about what they're doing in the summer season in the Med and how can we help them there. And so it's a great collaboration between our customers and our executives and our management team to try to provide what we think the industry needs. And so far, we've been pretty successful with it and built a lot of great relationships. So we're hoping to take those relationships and our understanding of what the customer is looking for in the short and long term and try to roll that into this Caribbean Charter Yacht Show that we're really trying to get off for December this year. It's going to be a great initiative.
Yeah, well, it's pretty exciting. I mean, it was announced and with great fanfare, December 9th through 12th, 2021 is the Caribbean Charter Yacht Show. And it's going to be held at Yacht Haven Grande. And that picture that Tom had in his interview behind him, what a beautiful marina. And it's won Marina of the Year quite a few times, hasn't it? Several times,
yes. Yeah, for the Superyacht Marina of the Year. And from the design point of view and the operating team, it's just fantastic. And it's nice that it also has a large open real estate section of it, which, you feel like you're walking through a town in like Porto or something like that. It's all designed with one master plan and, flows nicely, and you have nice shopping and restaurants and things on the real estate side and a lot of parking. So, whether it's cruise ship tourists or locals or stay over tourists can come and access the property and see the marina and get a feel for being in the waterfront and all that. But the docks are all separated from the real estate. So it's an ISPS facility, so there's high levels of security, and just to get out on the docks, it's a process. So for us, it's an ideal place to host a show because we have all the property to do any of the upland components that we need to do or would like to do to provide content and other unique attributes that a lot of shows may not be providing these days. But then have the separation of, well, if you're out on the docks and you're in front of the boats, you really are meant to be there. You're a broker, you're somebody in the industry. So what we're trying to find is use the properties amenities like the security situation that we normally have in place from an ISPS point of view to make the show more efficient so that the people you're dealing with are really meant to be there. And so it's just one of the nice components about using Yacht Haven. And we of course own the marina and operate it on a day-to-day basis. So the show is not looked at as a kind of, an extra event that we have to deal with. It is the event. We're focusing the next 6 months really on altering our operations for that period of time to make sure that the show is at the forefront of like what's going on. So we're very excited about it.
Well, I mean, from the sounds of it, it is perfectly situated to be one of those amazing shows because, like you said, the real estate side of things has everything that you can imagine. So those regular people that want to come down and be part of the excitement and, feel the energy, as we all know, every single yacht show has just some amazing energy going on. If they want to come down and take a look, they can. But when we're talking about, because it is, a charter show, when it comes to actual boats themselves, then of course it's separated. So it's, that you're dealing strictly business when it comes to the boats themselves, which is great.
That's just it. That's the goal, is to really separate those that are there to look at the boats, which, we want that too. Like, the boats are built to be looked at, to be used, and a lot of the people want them for that reason. So we don't want to deny that. But at the same time, we need the efficiency of just making sure that the people walking the docks are there for the business side of it. So yeah, we definitely have the business side, but we are going to focus on the fun side, but more so on a content side, as Tom was saying. A big directive, and I keep saying Tom, so I mean Tom Muckamal, our CEO of IGY, a big directive from him when he conceived of the show. And our whole team's been looking at ways that we can add value to the 3, 4, 5 days that the captain may be there as well. A lot of times the show is focused on the broker and the owner, and we're not taking that for granted. One thing we know is that no matter how great the show may be, we can have 50 boats there, all the captains, you two can be playing in the background. But if the brokers aren't there to actually see the show and then charter those boats more because they have a firsthand comfort level with the crew and of the boat, well, then there's no added value to anybody participating in it. So we know that dynamic is there, but let's, for this conversation, at least take that as a given. We know that we got to get the brokers there, give them all the added value that they need. And as Tom was also alluding to, make sure to help get them to St. Thomas as easily as possible. So we are working very diligently on that, in partnerships with other airlines to work on handling their travel, not when they get to St. Thomas, but when they're in Europe. We will be in coordination with them and making sure that we're suggesting the flights that may be able to get them into, for instance, directly to St. Martin, where we of course have Yacht Club Ile de Sol, my team situated there. You just see my uncle in the background a little bit here, so anyway, excuse me about that. So the goal is to just make this show effortless for everybody, and IGY, we're used to doing that for our customers on a day-to-day basis, so we're going to take that same infrastructure and same business friendly atmosphere and apply it to the show, so that we can hold your hand all the way through the process. And if you're a broker, that may mean simply your travel in and out of St. Thomas. But if you're a yacht captain and you have issues with, you're used to staying in Antigua or St. Martin and you don't usually go to the US Virgin Islands, maybe because of visa regulations or issues like that, well, what better year to have to do that, because IGY will hold your hand through that process. So we know that some brokers are concerned about, well, US visa entry regulations and things like that, and maybe some captains are. But on one side, we feel that there are just enough US based boats and certainly enough US based charter guests that being situated in St. Thomas just makes sense. And we think that's true going forward, but it is especially true this year and last year. I mean, since COVID-19 came out and all the restrictions that go with it, the U.S. Virgin Islands has just managed that process extremely well, and as have other islands. I mean, St. Martin did a great job with setting up policies and procedures, and I got to give the government a lot of credit there, and the Marine Trades Association in St. Martin. And I'm going to say we because, you know, I'm a little partial to St. Martin, but they did everything right there to get people in, but because of restrictions with needing to get COVID tests to go back to the US. So a lot of charter guests didn't want to have to deal with that, where when you're in St. Thomas, you can go back without having to take a test. And while people may be willing to commit to a 14-day charter, or even what we saw, a month charter or things like that during COVID, when they want to go back, they want to be able to go back and not then have to take a test. And even if they're asymptomatic, now have to spend 2, 3, 4 weeks in quarantine somewhere where they may or may not be that comfortable. So because of that small little change of just needing a test, which will not likely change in the near future to get back into the US, St. Thomas just is an ideal location to charter, start and end a charter right now. But now that boats are actually starting and ending charters there, we feel that they're finding a lot of other reasons to be able to do that. You know, it's just great to be able to fly a private jet straight into St. Thomas and not have to deal with the immigration issues you may have to deal with if you're going to St. Martin or Antigua or somewhere else out of the US. So there's reasons that we feel it's extremely efficient. And so if the yachts are a little concerned about how do I deal with the US, well, let us help you get all the regulations and go through that process and get a multi-entry visa to come in, and then you're opened up to be able to even go up to Florida and other places. And if that becomes part of your charter itinerary, well, we're there and we can help you in Florida too. So that's kind of the goal, is to be able to showcase our network as well and how we can help with the yachts as they move through the Caribbean and back up into to South Florida, wherever they may be going. Now, the other side of the industry is coming out of the Mediterranean, so that's where the visa regulations and stuff become a little bit more complicated, obviously. So let IGY help you is what we're hoping to achieve here.
Well, and I mean, realistically, that's what you guys do all the time anyway. You know, for
Right.
every single person that comes to your marina, that is what you provide. You provide every service that any super yacht owner or guest could ever want. So you're just extending the same courtesy to brokers and owners alike.
Absolutely. We're just doing what we do really well. We're doing it at the show specifically. And what's nice about that is our St. Thomas team actually is just going to focus on running the marina, and we're going to bring in team members from the Northeast, from Mexico, from Europe that are also run marinas and know the customers, but are there to actually run the show. So it's just going to be a lot of extra support that is not normally there, because we've got a deep bench, so to speak, so we can bring in resources from just about everywhere. And what's nice is those resources have a first-hand knowledge of the guest already. So we think it's going to be successful in that way.
Well, and one thing I want to go back to is that you were talking about the brokers meeting the crew. And I have to say, one of the things, especially I did a yacht show most recently, some live streaming on board a yacht during a yacht show. And one of the things that really took it that extra step for me was the crew. It could have been any boat, but the crew were just that extra something. And I'm sure that there might have been nicer boats, there might have been bigger boats, but the crew really was what finished it off. And I think that is really so important for brokers to actually get to meet the crew, because those are the things. Crew are pretty much what people remember. They will remember,
Exactly.
Of course, being out and enjoying a beautiful trip, etc. But they're also going to remember the way their bed was turned down. They're also going to remember the exciting things that the crew did for their kids or whatever else. The crew really is so important.
Absolutely. And not to discredit how beautiful the yachts are, but they're not always unique, but the crew are unique. And it's the same way we look at the marina world and the industry. So for instance, anybody can go and build a marina if they want to, if they throw enough money at it and they have enough time to wait and go through the bureaucratic process, environmental regulations, all of that stuff. You will get a marina eventually if you want one. But that's not what makes the marina work. Obviously, in the same way that the boat is not a great charter vessel just because it's 164 feet and it goes 14 knots or has 4 state. That does not make it. And we see the value of chefs and how a chef can absolutely make or break a charter. And we see where charter guests move based on where that chef goes, not necessarily because they like boat A versus boat B, but they remember, Raul or whoever the chef may be, and that one magical dining experience. And that's what it's about. So, every boat show really does some kind of a chef competition. And so while we're trying to recreate the boat show, we are not throwing out the good parts. The chef competition is something that's vital, and that the crew do need an opportunity to present themselves and show the brokers why I'm stumbling on myself, why they are so unique and why they will make the charter exceptional and unforgettable. And that's really the key to it, right? Is that the brokers want to protect their clients and want to make sure that they're going with a known factor. We think about all these great cruising areas, but a lot of brokers and captains and everybody, you don't want to take the risk with a charter. You may want to go there with an owner or somebody that's pushing it, but otherwise you want to go with a known entity like St. Bart's. They're going to love St. Bart's. Let's send them there. Well, that's fantastic. And we like St. Bart's, don't get me wrong. And it's what really makes St. Martin have a great mega yacht industry over there. But at the same time, there are so many other options, and the Virgin Islands are fantastic. And with the BVIs opening up and all that, we feel that IGY can help work on other alternative charter destinations, locations, activities. And we're looking into ways that we can make it easier for vessels when they're chartering. So there's new things to come out that we're going to save and introduce at the show. But we're looking at the entire charter experience and how does IGY help make you as a vessel, captain, crew, broker, management company better at what you do. So we know that the peak periods when you're going to need really efficient and ideal service. And we know times when there's not many charters going on and you're going to need help taking care of the crew and keeping them busy and finding things for them to do other than clean the boat or go drinking all night. So whether it's coming out with sailing, little regattas and stuff like that on a weekly basis that we do through IGY Racing, or working with partners to find activities around the island or surrounding islands that crew can go to. And we understand that when you're staying with us, you're not there just for a week or two and you're going to check with the concierge and do a couple of tours. You are there more than often 4 or 5 months in some cases, and multiple years every year. So it's a really different relationship that we have. And if you look through IGY, like you have a lot of people like myself that have been there a decade or longer because it's a great place to work. And through that time, we've built more than a business relationship with our customers. So we just think that there's a good opportunity to take that relationship and help all the way through the boat show, making it efficient. I mean, no one wants to skip the boat show, but no one really has the time right in the beginning of December to focus 100% on a show when you're also trying to focus on what is potentially your biggest charter or owner usage coming up in towards the end of the year with New Year's and everything like that. So we know that there's a lot of stress in that area and a lot of activity happens in a real short amount of time. So we're going to use all of our logistical resources to help with that.
Well, and realistically, we are seeing a sort of a new breed of owner, and we are seeing a new breed of crew. So, as you mentioned, they aren't looking to go drinking all night any longer.
Right.
They're looking to do a lot more active things. We're seeing more extreme sports, and the owners
Yep.
as well. They've come down in age, and the average charter guest as well has come down in age. So they are looking for experiences and things that we haven't had to provide in the past. In the past, they were happy to be, for example, in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, lounging on a sun deck. But that isn't the
Right.
case anymore. Not only just the owners, charter guests, but crew as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Caribbean offers so many types of opportunities like that, whether it be kite surfing or diving or whatever it is, and a lot of times people are not taking advantage of that. You're right. They're sitting on the back deck and enjoying cocktails in Gustavia, and that's fun as it can be, right? But we're seeing charters extend the time there. It's not only 5 and 7 days anymore. Of course, that may switch back after all the COVID-19 changes that we've gone through, but certainly you need to add new options, and that's really what we're focusing on. And there's a lot starting to happen in the Northeast Caribbean that I think we're going to see changes over the next 3 to 5 years, and they're not always a big home port type facilities, but you're going to see a lot of smaller little destination marinas and things popping up and anchorages around that give yachts alternatives. And a lot of times, like I was saying before, starting to use those alternatives and being the first one in is not something you necessarily want to do if you're on a $1 million charter or whatever. So we need to take the guesswork out of it, and that's what we're busy trying to do. And that's the content that we're looking to provide at this show, is not just, look, here's the boat, here's the broker, you guys should talk. It's, we're assuming you're going to get charters, and what do you do during that 5-day, 7-day, 12-day, or 21-day? Maybe it's harder to figure out what do you do on these longer charters. Well, that's where we want to come in and suggest different things and provide services that you may not have to necessarily have ready on your yacht, but we can assist from our infrastructure on land and through the multiple islands. So think about if you're chartering and picking up in St. Thomas, but during that 10 or 12 or 15-day charter, you may want to end up in St. Bart's as well. So now you're going from the USVI possibly to the BVI, maybe even to St. Martin and then to St. Bart's, and heck, you may want to stop in Anguilla on the way and then go back, or you may want to start a charter in one location and end in a different one. Well, there's a lot of logistics there and bureaucracy that we could deal with, not just because we have an office in Fort Lauderdale that you're going to call, but because we have people on the ground in all of those locations that have built years and years of relationship with, whether it be Customs and Border Patrol or the ministries in different islands and things like that. So I think people underestimate the resources that we have available to us, and that a simple phone call to your friendly IGY Marina manager, and what could that do? So we want people to be calling us and asking, hey, what do we do when we're in St. Thomas? How could you help? Because we're happy to help and we have the ability to do so.
Well, you know what, Brian, I'm really excited about this show. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. You guys are doing a lot of different things. In my conversation with Tom, the CEO of IGY, earlier this year, it sounds like it's going to be an absolutely smashing show.
We expect it to be. And one thing's for sure is we're going to have a good time there, and we're going to continue to build our relationships with our captains and brokers. And no show event, anything like this is a home run year one. We know that. We think that we're going to get maybe a triple off of this or something like that, to use a baseball analogy, but we are definitely focusing on it. Sorry to do this, but as I was saying, I'm kind of on daddy duty today. This is my daughter, Parker. You say hi, Park?
Hi, honey.
Okay, can you go back by mama for a second? Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, we're very excited about the show. We've run different shows before. As Tom was saying, we've been involved in shows since IGY started, and we've seen what works, what doesn't work in different countries and different regions. And we're just hoping to take all that knowledge and spin it into a way that works for everybody in a short, efficient, and cost-effective way.
Well, if anybody wants to have any more information in regards to this yacht show coming up December 9th through 12th at the Yacht Haven Grande in St. Thomas. We will definitely provide all the details below this interview when it airs. And contact, as Brian said, any single one of your friendly IGY representatives, and I'm sure they'll be able to tell you everything there is to know about it, or direct you into someone that will know all or have all the answers anyways. Brian, I want to say thank you ever so much for your time. It's really appreciated.
Well, thank you, Rhea. Appreciate you taking the time this morning. And yeah, everybody should really check out the website. It has a lot of information already on it. It's CaribbeanCharterYS.com. So Caribbean Charter Yacht Show is at YS. Very, very good site, and you can get a lot of information there.
Wonderful. Once again, this has been Brian Deher. He is the Regional Director of Marina Operations and Planning for the Caribbean and Latin America for IGY Marinas. And yeah, it's great to get to know you, and it's great to know a little bit more about the show coming up. We thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rhea. Have a good day.
You've been watching an episode of Super Yacht Stories. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. We'll see you again next time.